and hope to match that of Prey.
Well, you have a bit more of an excuse than me. You're on 4 days straight right now, Papa Smithy.
It's a hard slog.
The exhaustion is setting in for sure, but what a big surprise. First ban out from Jin Air over on the blue side will, in fact, be that Fiora, and then Lee Sin taken away from Umti. So already, those high-performing champions off the board.
The targeted ones as well. That's the cool thing. Is already we're not having meta bans, not the must-ban champions to bring off the pick and ban. We're actually starting with the targeted bans, and Gorilla will also draw a respect ban on the Thresh. And Jin Air GreenWings don't want to first pick it. Maybe they're hoping that a jungler will pop up for first pick, trying to get Umti into a good matchup. When Umti's had a good early game, he's really carried it through to the mid game and late game, so getting him an advantageous matchup is what they're looking for, but already double jungle bans, and you have to feel like the ZAC will be banned away as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. Seen it come through a couple times, but don't think we're going to be seeing that one again. Cuz got his hands on it versus BBQ. Came up with that victory. Jin Air
banned Syndra 100% of games on blue and red side. Now, BDD can certainly play. It hasn't been a big pick for them, and Longzhu have been one of the teams who actually left Syndra up a couple of times. Sometimes to their peril, or had their opponent ban it. So Galio is banned here. I wonder what Jin Air are fishing for. There's quite a lot of priority left up, given that we have pocket bans that often go through to the pick phase. Have to imagine ZAC is going to be banned from Longzhu. We are still on patch 7.10, so even higher power than he has been ever before.
Yeah.
Triple jungle ban. The holy trinity of junglers are banned by Longzhu, meaning that a lot has escaped to pick phase for sure.
Yeah, and right now, Umti, I mean, only other picks that we've seen from him so far is going to be that Graves coming through. It's going to be one of the big ones.
And Kusan will just take the Syndra. So it'll be his first Syndra of the season. They've gone every game banning it, and then have Kusan jumping onto it.
We also did see, I should mention, the Ivern did come through for Umti. That was a win against MVP in their first game.
So the surprise here about the Syndra is it feels like for once it's being picked on reputation. This year, Kusan is 0-2 on Syndra. He didn't prioritize it in spring. He's never really starred on it, and it's a big reach. It's a grab for a player who has been a bit more of a tertiary carry for Jin Air ever since Teddy came onto the roster. So surprised to see the Syndra valued so high. Didn't want to give it over to BDD, give him an assassin pressure matchup. Longzhu end up getting Prey onto Ashe. So already we're hyped. Already we have a star-making champion for a star, and then also the flex pick of the Gragas coming through. Could very well be jungle with the top 3 banned away. Gragas is a contested jungler as well.
Well, speaking of flex, we're going to have that J4 come through. Did see it in the jungle, has very much been in the top lane.
And the 2 games that So1 played, he was actually playing on the Jarvan, and we have seen it from Ixu as well, so as you say.
Yeah, he did play it. It wasn't to a loss, but still has been practicing up that J4, so fully expecting that to go into the hands of Ixu, but they could surprise us with Umti piloting that out of the jungle. Caitlyn locked in for Teddy.
Karma and Zyra are both available. Karma has been higher priority. It's not really a flex pick for Longzhu like it is for Samsung, just because BDD, while he's played Karma mid, he's about as far away from a Karma mid player by trade of anyone. They could actually start banning some supports as well if they so desire. Range supports aren't necessarily as contested as before, so you don't get as much value out of banning supports. And they'll actually ban away the cannon, so they seem to at least be considering the fact that it may be a Jarvan in the jungle.
Having some concern over that one. So, haven't looked at Umti's solo queue records. Maybe he's been bringing that one out quite a bit as of late.
Saw it earlier this season from the jungle, and it didn't look great, Achilles, so I'm skeptical that it'll be a jungle Jarvan, at least where we are right now in the meta, but Cinderhawk Bust did help him out. First clear still abysmal, as we saw on the Rift.
Yeah. Well, Orianna to follow up, so just trying to pitch down on that mid-champion pool, and it'll actually be Nidalee coming through.
We saw so many more Nidalee bans than Nidalee picks. We're still waiting for the Nidalee meta to hit us. Cuz is a very strong Nidalee jungle player himself.
It's happening in North America. I mean, just earlier today, Lyra bringing out the Nidalee yet again.
It's happening all over other regions. We've seen one game of it so far in LCK, but it was Songwon, not necessarily one of these legacy god tier Nidalees. The reason why you see mid laners banned by Jin Air is they know that Longzhu want to flex pick their mid laner. They want to pick their mid laner here so they can potentially flex the Gragas between jungle and top lane. So taking mid laner first and then being able to flex Gragas is a pretty big advantage for Longzhu on the red side with how the draft is developed. We've seen precious little LeBlanc so far this season. It's been looked over a lot, but they're focused on the flex. They need something safe to blind pick, and with Orianna gone and the Comfort Zed gone, will be BDD on the LeBlanc.
A bit surprised, though, to not see something like perhaps the Fizz come through for BDD. You would think that would be in his wheelhouse, given the assassin style.
I called it a blind pick, but of course it's into the Syndra, so that does narrow down options. They were actually respecting BDD, counterpicking himself with the Orianna, just picking that for lane, picking that for team comp rather than for lane, and Zed has always been a good matchup into the Syndra. Just waiting on finding out where that Jarvan is going to go. Ixu's played a lot of Jace. It could be Jace here and just go for Jace, Syndra, and the Caitlyn. Or will it be the Jarvan top?
Oh, Ixu's favorite. There we go. We will flip over the first club that we had in Korea. So it will be J4 in the jungle for MT.
You call it his favorite, but he hasn't picked up a win on it yet.
He still likes it a lot.
He's played it the second most of anyone. This season, it has been Cuvée, who's been the one-man army.
And destroying with it.
On the Kled. Bit of a surprising choice there. Does open up a lot of flexibility of whether Longzhu want to take a more risky jungle pick than the Gragas. They can look for a carry because you're not really respecting being invaded on by Jarvan. Jarvan already has enough troubles clearing his own jungle. So there could still be that crazy level 2 from Umti, but seems like Longzhu had the right read, banning away top laners, even though the Jarvan jungle seemed like an outside chance. And the end result is it'll be Gragas top against Jarvan. So it still is going to be a self-counter pick in some ways. Gragas doesn't have a lot of fun dealing with the Kled, just because Kled can run over him unless Gragas can get some early snowball, get some tank items, and delay the timer for when Kled can just run over the Gragas.
I mean, you want to talk about snowball, we have the Kha'Zix coming back out here for Cuz. 1-1 currently on that, played it twice during the SKT set, picked up the win in game number 1 for his squad. We'll be bringing that back out again, and if he can get rolling with that Kha'Zix, especially around the top side of the map, it would be good tidings for Longzhu.
A bit of a surprise they're not really setting up around Khan. That has been their recent strategy and has worked for them. When Khan has had kill pressure or had a winning lane matchup, very frequently Longzhu have been able to build off that pressure, and it's the big difference because Expression was very much more of a tank role player compared to Khan, who's wanted to have pressure, so they very likely will not have pressure top. And seeing if Longzhu can adjust to their new map state and win from there, that would be another step in the development of Longzhu Gaming.
Things seem to be going rather well for these guys so far. Picking up that win against SKT would have been the icing on the cake, but unfortunately did elude them, but barely so. So the squad has been looking well improved comparatively with this new squad. Let's see if they can keep taking steps in the right direction, or if Jin Air will pick up a win for themselves. So plenty of fans showing up here on a Saturday afternoon, ready to watch some League of Legends. You know what? I feel the same.
Good news, Achilles. We've got plenty ahead of us. A lot of fans there for Umti, I believe. Fan groups are loyal to see. So we're on a Saturday, so we don't have to deal with school overlapping with LCK today.
We're here for Prey. Show some support
for 300 games of LCK season play.
One better way to start the series off than with his Ashe. Prey is a nice Ashe.
That's true. I cannot disagree with you, Achilles.
It's one of the finest.
Beautiful, even.
Yeah,
it's fair.
Just well-rounded.
I can't take this anywhere, Achilles. You're giving me one of those hospital hand passes that I can't deal with.
I'm not really, handing you anything that you can roll with, really. We'll leave it at that. But no cheeky invades coming out from either side, at least not at the moment. A ward thrown down right in front of these Raptors, so Cuz will be spotted.
Longzhu actually didn't put down a ward at level 1. Prey and Gorilla were in lane 2v2. Usually you want to have some information about Jarvan's pathing because he gets so low in the jungle that knowing if he's top or bot side, it's one of the few matchups Kha'Zix can jump in, try to cheese, get a kill or steal away a buff. But because they were Very passive at the level 1. Caso is probably going to just have to be a bit more defensive in his jungle path as well. got a strong leash, and he thought about getting frisky. He has that full information here.
Well, he wants to walk around, so he still has the flag drag combo coming through. He's pinging in for some help. Seen it yet. Ward has expired. Cuz now spotting him out. We'll try to retreat. Smites up for both, but will just be taken by Umti. Can they get the collapse? You can see Khan's not roaming down from the top side.
Yeah, neither of the lanes want to actually respond to this situation so early. And minion waves needed to be controlled. No one could push out that early, and double ward down for no defensive vision or even offensive vision for Longzhu. Honestly, Jin get justice for actually being active in the early game, and Longzhu, maybe it's the 5 p.m. start time, but they were asleep for the level 1, and Jin prosper.
Yeah, so that's going to set Cuz back pretty considerably here. You can see Prey just then hitting level 2, so did not have the Hawk shot to try to spot out Umti before that invade came through. So just poor timing overall for the side of Longzhu, and they're going to suffer for it. So fast track for the J4 through the jungle, and he might not be done yet. Takes the little trip over the wall. Does he want to invade down onto Kha'Zix? Looks like the answer is going to be no, but instead he's going to show his face in the bottom lane.
How does he want to commit here?
Slow comes through. Prey will get popped up. Exhaust comes down. Pops out the heal. Will flash away. Flash forward from Snowflowers, who pursues in. Gets the Devour, and that should be first blood. There we go. Hands over to Teddy, who has a headshot ready to go.
And Umti is just running this game on his own. The invade with the double wards, getting the red buff steal, runs bot lane. Kind of had every option. Does he want to invade onto what was a 200 HP Kha'Zix? Does he want to look for the gank? Notice that Prey and Gorilla were over the midpoint of the bot lane and just got the gank off. So Umti, he's had some pretty magical games, but largely on the Lee Sin. Now making it done on the Jarvan of all picks is increased flexibility for that jungle pool for Umti.
Yeah, and a bit intriguing to see that, you know, Prey didn't just flash away from the flag and drag, tried to just outrange it and then run up, but he had to kite down the lane to even attempt that, so didn't want to have to blow the flash. He loses it in the end, plus the heal, and then goes down for the first blood.
Definitely seen some of these veteran laners play around with their summoners more than they needed to. I remember back to Bang being hooked on the turret twice in one game because he did not want to use flash or heal. They end up using it anyway, so a double whammy there.
Yeah. And that's when you got to start worrying about the mental state, the tilt setting in, when those sorts of little occurrences happen.
Still is 4 minutes into game 1, first game of the day, so I'm sure if you ask Longzhu, they'll say that they were just slow and warming up, but don't think you can really sleepwalk through a level 1. Jin have basically won this game through their level 1 vision, so that's kind of a takeaway, especially for any players out there, whether it's whatever level of play, is that if you don't even stay robust in your defense, you know, 5-point, for example, and get information on where the wards on the enemy are down, and get no vision yourselves, you can't be surprised when significant snowball is granted to the opposition.
Yeah. So now a lot of pressure on BDD to perform in the mid lane. See some trading back and forth between he and Kuzan, as they both get chunked down to about half HP. But Umti, you know, it's like, I'm really powerful right now. I'm just going to take a stroll through your jungle, go down all the vision that I want, and Cuz just has to let it happen.
Very, very infrequently does a Jarvan have the pressure advantage in the jungle matchup. Like Longzhu had so many more options with their pathing. But you're right, this is one of those games, Kilios, so you're going to have to reevaluate your expectations.
Khan going to be coming back in, has his budget Rod of Ages ready to go.
1,200 gold to never really be forced out of lane. It's pretty good value there. One of the few top lane item builds that were not nerfed, given that all those tank item readjustments. I'm still a big fan of Triple Dorans into the Iceborne Gauntlet. I feel like that a few top lane builds you can feel good about that hasn't been target nerfed by Riot in this particular tank item rework.
Well, the teammate's going to be there now for Ixu, so can shove in on the Gragas very swiftly. We already saw Khan was managing fairly well as far as the exchanges back and forth goes, you know, knocking him off of Skarl very early on.
The early levels is fine for the Gragas. The base damages are there.
Oh.
Wave clear can't happen. Until you get the TM out, you can't balance wave clear with poke or even all in on the side of Kled. But we know that these matchups for Kled change pretty dramatically once he gets the item build rolling.
This becomes annoyingly unkillable.
Kled gets a start too. Whichever of the double TP laners is sent into Kled might actually be in trouble. even LeBlanc will have a struggle if the Kled hits 2 items at a good speed. And they need someone to be able to answer that split push in the mid to late game.
Trying to recover some vision here for his team. Deny away from Jenner, so that he can safely roam through his own jungle at the moment. Top side still going to be lit up. Will be spotted as he goes over to the Raptors and at the red buff as well.
It's popped off of Skarl. That's back away.
Drunken Rage hit, but yeah, Shotgun takes him just a bit out of range, so can't quite complete that combo. And Skarl was gone for just a couple seconds.
Yeah, the moment you get in combat with the enemy champions, you regain Skarl very, very quickly. Now Kuzan's in on the act of trying to contest red buff.
Throws out the stun, just a second too late. Actually could have come up with that one, but the smite was there from Cuz.
Team game plan seems to be to shut down Cuz, who, if you looked at the performances so far this season, I think it'd be easy to say that Cuz needs to shape up, but a little bit more forgiving. Only played 3 professional series, only just had his first match loss. Coming in from solo queue with no substitute. There's a lot of pressure on Cuz, like there was on Crash previously, and Crash had his ups and downs. Cuz is a different type of jungler to Crash. He is more of a defensive jungler compared to Crash's relentless aggression. But I do feel for Cuz, you know, being in that really awkward spot, especially in that game 3 as Lee Sin with basically 2.5 items at 50 minutes. There was nothing he could do. It was only a peel Lee Sin with a team with 2 melee assassins who wanted to dive in. Kind of just stuck and got polymorphed and died every fight.
Cuz going to be wrapping around here on a Kuzan. Gets his flash away from the Syndra. So nice little visitation. And the first real move that he's been able to make.
Was dictated to by his jungle opposition for majority of the early games. So that'll feel cathartic for the side of Cuz. Speaking of Cuz, furthering the invade. 2 can invade red buffs, he says.
Yeah, drops down the ward. Does he want to stick around and try to take this away?
Well, remember, Syndra has no flash, so it's going to be second to rotate.
Yeah, but Snowflower roaming up already to try to lock him out of the jungle. We'll even get rid of the vision, find 2 wards for their trouble.
Team play around buffs has definitely been better from the side of Jinner. We've already seen 2 different people rotate around the enemy buff. And also they had Snowflower rotate first in terms of covering for Jarvan's red. So getting a snowball start and also getting coverage from the bot lane means the Jarvan jungle looks just fine.
So blue buff just going to be handed over here to BDD. Starting to struggle a little bit earlier on, but is keeping up for the most part as far as the CS is concerned. And even with Cuz, you know, having that early invade, he's still sticking in very close to empty at the moment.
Kuzan wants to extend the undefeated streak for Syndra this season at 7-0. LeBlanc was on awards, so wasn't afraid of the Mimic whatsoever. Syndra has been on a tear, even with natural itemization like the Banshee Veil being very strong against Syndra. Maybe seeing a couple of Banshees here. There's an argument for both the LeBlanc and the Syndra picking it up to try and outduel each other. Gunblade's fallen off quite a lot in Korea. Still is an option, and with teleport advantage you could understand it, but the priority over Gunblade that there was just immediately before MSI seems to have gone down.
I'm not sure if anyone's actually even built it so far this split.
We may have had one. I think it was on a Gangnam Studio Day, but it's been largely overlooked, and this hasn't been a lot of LeBlanc play in Korea either.
Yeah. It was banned away initially, saw a lot of bands go out to it, and then started like saying like, okay, maybe we can let this slip through, and then they did, and then no one was picking it.
Kind of the story at MSI as well. Wasn't a high priority pick there, even though it was picked a bit. Felt like the reputation went down as the scrim information went up. SKT banning it all the way through the group stage and then leaving it up versus Flash Wolves.
Yeah.
We all remember that Maple game.
All right, well, a bit of a fight here inside the Rift Herald pick. Kuzan wrapping around from the backside. Khan just going to go ahead and flash in, but Ixu's going to pursue. They're trap the rope, plus the charge comes through. Throws out the explosive cast, knocking away Kuzan. Nice little micro play, but Cataclysm over the wall will lock in the Gragas. Body slam, buying some time. MT, one more shot, not quite going to kill him. He does have the potions rolling.
Khan did about as much as he could in this scenario. Ulting away Kuzan was very intelligent, forced the Jarvan to invest flash, and even more of his time almost went down to the turret. So, given a bad situation, good job by Khan. They will also get a Mountain Drake out of this Longzhu.
Yeah, so good little reaction from Caso, just immediately moving over to that. BDD pushing up the river looking for Umti, but word comes down, so he will stay safe at least for the moment. Pops up the scrying plant. So this is actually just going to stop Umti from even going from the camp, so delaying it a bit further is BDD.
Jarvan is one of those junglers that LeBlanc will have kill pressure on early. Is on the squishier side, even though he's rushed the Cinderhulk. And after all the farming, Cuz does have his warrior, so at least he's in a decent spot power-wise.
Go ahead, we'll get a replay of this one.
It's really smart of Khan to understand the scenarios, ult back the Syndra, who would have just been able to roll in on the movement speed from charge and pick up a kill. This was in the meanwhile. The LeBlanc continued to occupy the Syndra, but wasn't going to be super important in the overall grand scheme of things.
If Umti had just dragged into that Tri-Brush a second sooner, Explosive Cask probably would have caught both of them. That would have been the ultimate feels good moment.
The League of Legends what-ifs. And we've just made the right decision, maybe would have won Worlds.
Yeah. What if that wasn't a wild card?
I know that's a fun thing for you to ponder.
It makes my head hurt thinking about that one.
Don't worry. I'm a soccer fan, and the English invented that game, and they don't win anything either.
There you go.
Inventing a game doesn't make you the best at it, unfortunately.
Yeah, you should just wait for everybody else to invent something and then take it. You know, just Edison the crap out of it.
These are options left open. England's invented a lot of sports, and they're not good at many of them. Cricket's right there as well. They don't win at that either. Rugby?
What do you win at?
England?
Yeah.
Am I English in this story? I'm not Australian?
Sure. You have a passport.
I do have a passport, but I don't really consider myself English.
Oh, thank you very much. Will actually get picked up by Umti. Has the smite, and Cuz just burning is a little bit too early.
Yeah, he smited early at 185 HP. After that is picked up. What did England win at? I can only think of backhanded things to say at this point. I'm trying to think of something actually legitimately they win at.
I mean, it used to be wars, and then we turned that one around.
That's true. I mean, I can't dispute that particular fact. I think we're allies now, so maybe less of a my father is greater than your father situation going on here, Achilles.
I'm not. I have nothing bad to say against your father. He's a wonderful man.
You can Google him. He's John Smith.
He's old.
My mother is not Pocahontas. I realize that most of our viewership probably hasn't seen the Disney version of Pocahontas. It came out a long time ago.
Yeah. It's much better than the real story.
Arguable.
Most Disney tales that are based on, you know, folklore or even historical events are usually better than the source material.
He spent a lot of time soloing out the Rift Herald. Wave clear is good in top lane, a little bit more risky in mid. Taking down LeBlanc's mid lane turret would slow down the double TP plays as well. So I imagine popping it in the mid lane, especially if they can get a kill onto LeBlanc, is going to be the priority here for Jin.
See right now, hovering around the wolves. Wave still pushing very far forward, but Kuzan can clear them out pretty swiftly. But seems like they want to get it back first. MT by as much as he can before they start going for that push, trying to get that first brick in.
Seems going to be full tank Jarvan. Was spoiled by the Sky Dunks coming through from Cuvée on the AD Jarvan, and that is the standard top lane build. But I think this time around it's going to be something like Dead Man's Plate, and a lot more tanky.
Banshee's Veil picked up there for Kuzan to start things off.
May actually be
a
Gunblade. When you have double TP, and Gunblade helps you a lot in that scenario with a split push, you can understand it being picked up.
It does have the revolver in the inventory.
Probably not going to be a proto belt, but we have seen it on LeBlanc before.
T walking through, Cuz waiting in the brush.
One level under.
Has it been spotted? Can they collapse on the Jarvan is going to be the question.
They're bringing in
rolling
Gorilla.
up. Yep. Flag comes down.
They know that
EQ's now. They
down.
jump in onto him. That's going to be BDD over the wall. Has the tether coming through. Cataclysm comes out, but it's just not enough damage. He goes down. Gorilla picking up the kill.
Yeah, Umti used the flag to check the brush, got vision from it, but then they knew they did not have EQ available. Flash was back up for Umti, but he knew There was no evacuation available in that scenario. Well thought out by Longzhu. Gets their first kill on the board.
Yeah, but also, I mean, good by not having that knee-jerk reaction, trying to flash away. As the tethers were coming through from BDD, so he was almost certainly going to go down in pretty much any change in that scenario.
Top lane trades starting to go pretty one-sidedly. Kilios, just how it goes in most Kled matchups. Only Shen of the tanks can start to ignore damage because
Dodge field's nice.
The dodge field, like you say, is the big winner there. It's not so much the shielding, but the fact that the W procs don't go off.
I mean, it's rough times for Khan, but he does have an 8 sustain refillable potion to help him out when he does have those charges, but he's also keeping up in CS, so while it's brutal to watch, he's still doing rather well.
I mean, you just look at his champion pool, and it's been Jarvan, Fiora, who will, you know, again, scale on to be a duelist. Renekton, another lane pressure champion, and it's the Cassiopeia that really, you know, tops it all off. So he's very much been picked into pressure matchups previously. Speaking of pressure, they want this mid lane turret. They want it now.
Yeah, and they're going to go ahead and just take the first one without popping the Rift Herald.
Don't know how much longer the buff has. Probably another minute, if I'm going to say. It looks like about another minute.
75% of the way done.
So we'll see where Jin wants to park it. For now, he's pathing around the bot side. Maybe want to end the laning phase in bot lane.
I mean, I figured with everybody piling into the mid lane right there that they would just go for a 5-man push with the Rift Herald onto the tier 2 and try to open up the map that way. But yeah, it seems like they'll use it to try to take down one of these other outer turrets. Top lane is not really going to need the assistance of that Rift Herald. Kuzan going to get locked down. Gorilla, can he get in range in time to get that root? He will do so. Cleanse comes through from Kuzan, keeps himself alive, but barely so, has a sliver of HP.
Still was confident enough not to use the flash. Understood that the damage wasn't going to come through, and he could easily walk out of the Stranglethorns.
Yeah, it was also good that he walked up towards that top side of the jungle because Cuz was waiting in the wings.
Speaking of waiting, Longzhu is being surrounded in top lane.
Okay, they will go ahead and use this Rift Herald on the top side of the map. So the charge, you can't see the HP on the turret. It might just kill, yeah.
It's going to instant kill.
Yeah, it's just going to go ahead and take it down. And there you have it. But now Ixu maybe in a spot of bother. Explosive Cast comes through, knocks him off the Scarl. BDD is roaming his way in, dashes forward, gets right on top of him, and he will go down. Kill picked up for the LeBlanc. Finds a tether over the wall, but no real way of pursuing forward. But still, Longzhu put another kill on the board.
Nice roam path coming through from BDD. Didn't even need to invest his teleport to pick up that kill as bot lane. Pressure advantage has been there. Tom Kench great as we scale into the late game, but the double range is in building advantage. Cuz.
Yeah, so go ahead, throws out the Void Spikes to pop that shield from the Banshee's Veil. Unleashed Power comes through. Kuzan flashes to the side, gets the stun. Can he come up with a solo kill? Leap and flash away comes through from the Kazakhs, taking himself out safely. A body slam over the wall from Khan. Picks up the kill. Close call for Cuz, but Khan is there to pick up the pieces. Now Prey Ace in the hole comes through, takes him dangerously low, but still holds on to that heal.
Yeah, pretty crazy passage of play evolving in that scenario. I thought Cuz was just flashing to his doom. He was on the wrong side of the jungle, but very nice deep teleport from Khan.
It's very stylish, you'd have to say, from Kuzan, but now Teddy in a bad spot. The Devour comes through. Lash comes down, trying to lock up this Gragas. Everyone piling forward. The traps come down, but it's not going to walk into that one. And now Longzhu, can they turn this one around? They knock Ixu straight off his Scarl again, and now BD joins the fray. Dashes forward, finds the kill, taking him down yet again.
This time there was no synergy between Ixu and Omti, so Ixu dies twice in 2 minutes, teleporting into his doom. Needed the Jarvan there who had everything up, but wasn't in position.
Ooh,
great roams from BDD. He's been first on the roam, as expected, on the LeBlanc compared to Syndra. Starting to look comfortable, and Jin just haven't been able to respect the roam pressure of LeBlanc.
Yeah, I hope we get a replay of that initial fight because that was actually very good by Kuzan, flashing to the side to get the scatter the weak stun in onto the Kazakhs. Basically had that solo kill in hand, but looks like we'll go straight to the bottom lane.
And Prey was actually fighting. This was off screen because we were focused on other action, but Prey got dangerously low at this point. Didn't use his Ash arrow this early in the fight, but the moment you come in there, when Jarvan, you can see, is really far away from all this fighting, needed some synergy between top lane and jungle. They are the true engagers from the side of Jin, and them being disconnected led to that scenario as mid lane turret went down.
Yeah, we're able to take this one. So, Jin have that advantage. 2-0, but still not that far ahead as far as the gold is concerned.
This is definitely, you can tell it's definitely 2017 Summer League of Legends when it's Banshee Veil Syndra against Banshee Veil LeBlanc. What a weird world we live in.
Well, we will be getting the Gunblade at least.
This is another one of those things where if you told someone a year ago what the meta of mid laners would be, they would not believe you. No, Banshee Veil's different, trust me.
What are you talking about? It's going to be Abyssal Scepter. No longer. Unless it's Galio.
LeBlanc has some advantages with the engage patterns now, just because he can really poke out that shield, but it's not like Syndra can't with her Q, so very much is about shields. Speaking of shields.
Yeah, walking into the brush, MT. Even though he had to jump on them, needs to hightail it out of there. BDD now getting pinched on. That's going to be the charge coming through as well as the Abyssal Voyage. He makes it over the wall with a distortion.
Optimistic.
Maybe Jin don't find anything.
Optimistic charge from Ixu, who you noted is a aficionado of the Kled, but hasn't got the victories. Got inspired by Cuvée. I guess Caso is going to take the blue.
Yeah, whatever. We're not going to deal with this resetting.
Didn't want to deal with that rubbish, like you say.
I mean, they want to get rid of that so they can go ahead and start working over to this mid lane to try to deny the damage coming through. But Teddy, he's in a nice spot to just fire away. BDD taking those headshots. It was quite low. Ash Arrow from the bottom lane connects in onto Jin Air looks like they're just going to get some free damage in onto that turret.
Gragas had to walk down. Prey's going to face check Kuzan. No, he had a ward.
This is a dangerous spot to be in. As an Ash, we'll see how far forward Prey is willing to play.
Answer is usually pretty far up. Prey does like to roll the dice, and you get superstar moments like his outplays against SK Telecom in the semifinals of Worlds. And he gets some lowlights that we try not to talk about, especially on a day like this where he will almost imminently be hitting 300 games played.
So he's not the kind of person you want to take to a casino to play dice games with?
Probably not. Also, he can't play those games in Korea.
That's true.
Rule is in Korea that if you have a Korean passport, you can't go to the couple of casinos they have there.
Yeah, but if you're a foreigner
and you show your passport.
Yeah, you have to have your passport to get in.
You can get your gamble on.
Then yeah, you can just go play some, slot machines, blackjack, whatever you want.
Poker. They've got all the games, but not for Koreans.
It's such a weird.
I know.
It's such a weird.
It's the exact opposite of what you'd expect. Usually, it's a national-focused restriction, but this is the exact opposite.
You can only gamble if you're Korean, but they just nope. Go against that common logic.
At the end of the day, something they can regulate and tax, but something that they don't endorse, I guess, is the theory behind it.
Whereas America's just like, we don't care where you're from. Get in here, spend your money.
It's one way to play your cards. Things are being surprisingly even here. Sure, 2 kills up for Longzhu and 2 Drakes, but the gold is precisely even thanks to the turrets that Jin Air have been able to pick up. In terms of team comps and who this benefits, you do feel like Jin Air will have a lot of options in the late game, whereas Longzhu, unless they can find a way to contain this Kled, may be a bit more limited. I give the slight advantage late game to Jin Air. Caitlyn over Ashe in the late game, Kled as a split push threat, giving them multiple different ways to play the map. But it's certainly not a massive one, so interesting to see where the real first pressure point is attacked. And Bob's been on the map for a couple of minutes, but not a realistic objective for Jin Air yet.
Yeah. It's also just a lot of ways for Jin Air to get themselves into the back line. Flag and drag there, Abyssal Voyage. A lot of options to get themselves on top of the squishy targets of Prey and BDD.
And Khan kind of has a twofold problem of he needs to contain Kled in the split push and also absorb the charge and a lot of the initiation in team fights. So his role basically kind of like a marking role on the Kled. Speaking of Khan.
Yep. In danger of getting pinched on here. Body slam away, start roaming down the river. So we'll see how deep Jin Air wants to pursue this. Abyssal Voyage is available if they want to go for the Gragas. But instead, seems like they'll just get started with this dragon.
Summoners are up on the side of Longzhu, so certainly going to over-prioritize there.
Counter push is coming through. Tether thrown out by BDD, not going to connect. And now the Ocean Drake going to be started up by them instead. They try to take this one away. Almost down to about half HP. Jin Air, how much do they want to go for this one? It's going dangerously low. Leash starts coming through. It goes low. Spike comes down. Cuz takes this away. They just go their separate ways, or they go for the engagement. Body slam forward, gets a flash right out of Kuzan immediately. Now Gorilla going to get jumped on as Ixu goes in for that charge. Cataclysm comes down. Cuz has to flash over the wall. Khan going dangerously low as well. Starts to kite back, but there's still plenty of damage. Engage! Massive body slam from Khan with the flash. Helps come up with the kill onto Kuzan, and now BDD going straight into the back line. Helps take down Snowflower. That's going to be Ixu. Locked in, taken out. 3 kills coming through. Make it 4. as will be the only one limping away from this fight. Longzhu just blow open the game, pick up the Drake, and they're going to be looking for more.
Great team fighting coming through from Longzhu. Their ability to kite back and play front to back, just focusing down the front line, was super impressive to see. We haven't seen a lot of Longzhu team fighting because they haven't been drafting tank tops and team fight comps, but in this case, Khan was super on point. The re-engage, he knew he would die, but he knew his team will be able to profit from it. The replay will show you that Longzhu's team fighting, again, something we haven't had the pleasure of examining.
Oh, now still going to go down. BDD walking down to that mid lane just to try to stop him from entering into the pit.
Attack damage on that gunblade, baby. Auto-attacked by LeBlanc to death.
Hell yeah.
They get everything. Watch the replay here. So,
oh, Khan, this was just dirty.
And what happens here is, of course, charge is going to be charged. They can't cancel the engage once they go for it. But see where they're fighting. Cataclysm goes down and stopping a lot of his own team from coming in. They have space control, and Khan, E-flash body slam, as you're saying. Huge re-engage, and from there, LeBlanc can get in the back line. Cuz re-enters. Prey is free hitting. Really good re-engage, and also defensive kite back from Longzhu. The only way they can make this teamfight comp work. Really good to see.
Beautiful stuff from Khan. Now Baron buff over to Longzhu. 27 minutes into this game. And they can look to pick up a couple more turrets. Have about a 4,000 gold lead, nearing towards that.
And now the normalcy and the ways to win for Jinner that we discussed when it came to team comp are kind of gone. You got the Baron buff to negate the Kled from really having any pressure in side lanes. LeBlanc can now play the map. Doesn't have teleport, but is going to take the outer top lane turret for free. Things are looking a lot more controlled for Longzhu as the gold lead. It's not massive, but considering it was 100 just about 3 minutes ago, it's now 4,000.
Yeah. And Khan, well, he's very far forward by himself. Going to be taken low, probably taken out as the stun will come through. Ash Arrow there to try to answer, but he'll just get spat out, and Snowflower comes up with the kill.
He thought he was going to do his best Fiora, then realized he was playing Gragas, and is going to get a double kill in the enemy red side jungle. The meanwhile is pretty important here, though.
Yes, tier 2 in the top lane. Does get taken out. BDD just feeling free to shove that one all the way through because just had full sight of everybody on Jin Air.
It's a kill for an inner turret with Baron down, with the Drake not available. There's no objective. Like you say, it is super worth.
I mean, he didn't even lose a Baron buff. He already didn't have it, so there was pretty much no takeaway for Jin Air other than getting a little bit of extra gold.
But see that Teddy's first instinct was to pull back, because they don't have vision on the blue side, but eventually got the call that he was safe to push, and we'll get at least an outer turret for Jin Air.
Yeah, so that's a bit more of a takeaway, but still. Outer turret in the bottom lane for your inner and top. Feels pretty bad, and now maybe in danger of losing this outer and mid as well, so it goes low. BDD pitching in from the backside. Throws out the tether in a bit of an odd spot.
I mean, Longzhu's just playing a structure game. That's 3 towers at 4 instants.
Oh,
here we go.
That's going to be Explosive Cascade. That's Kuzan going down right off the bat now. Empty. Tries to get the flag and drag through. Can't complete the combo. As the Dragon Strike won't even have the opportunity to get cast. He goes down. Devour yet again in onto Khan. He will die, but he's pretty much just a sacrificial lamb for Longzhu's success. Gorilla goes down to the backside of the fight as Ixu is able to take him out, but now he's in no man's land. He'll suffer for that kill. 4 members yet again dead. The 4 for 2 in favor of Longzhu. They'll knock down that inner and mid. Now they're looking for inhibitors.
Communication between Longzhu is so much better than you could ever have hoped given how late this roster came together. Target calling is outskilling and also just more superior than Jin Air is able to do. Always calling the right targets, deleting Kuzan from the start. They've still got Baron. Missed the Ash Arrow, but they're going to get at least a kill on Snowflower.
And Snowflower is, hinting, I guess.
He's buying time for recalls. That's what he was doing there. Basically, they had Baron buff. He has no wave clear, so
yeah, he wasn't stopping him from getting onto the Nexus turret.
So it looks silly, it looks comical, but this looks great as Khan once again comes in from a direction with the body slam that surprises Jin Air. They didn't see the re-engage happening around the Drake fight where Longzhu got Baron. They didn't see Khan coming in this time either. They put so much damage into him that once again he dies, but it doesn't matter. It's not Fiora. It's not a carry. He did his job on the Gragas, and then his team prospers from his smart work.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you talk about the damage fall off for Gragas and how it just comes down to utility, and Khan is really embracing that wholeheartedly.
And the damage at this point is still decent, but the Negatron Cloak will be turned into the Gargoyle Stone Plate. He'll pop that. He'll be able to do the same CC initiation missions, but be unkillable doing it. Speaking of killable,
my God, look at that burst coming through. Redemption is there to, kind of bump Teddy back up, but good Lord, just the proc from the chain. from BDD, ripping right through that Caitlyn.
I mean, BDD is quietly 7-0-6, almost 100% kill participation on the LeBlanc. Everything has gone way better than expected for Longzhu this game.
He's already got 4 items. I mean, 5 to count the boots, so he's in a really good spot.
He's stacked. If he was working out at the gym, he'd be shredded.
Yeah.
That's what he's looking at right now. So BDD
should have bought a Medjai's this game.
Could have thought about it.
Well, just more pressure being applied. Khan bringing up the wave in the top side of the map. Super creeps here in mid, trying to be cleared out by Ixu. But even that going to be a bit of a task. Requires the help of that Syndra.
It's amazing that Longzhu is this good so fast.
It really is.
No one could have predicted it. You know, you had someone like Fionn being optimistic because of Longzhu's reputation for rosters. This was not the one you would look at and think like, all right, they're going to have it from the start of the season and be good, but they are good. Their match against SKT, they lost. They looked good doing it.
I mean, they've always compiled these, these super teams. It's always on paper like, oh man, these guys look really good. But then they bring in the rookie, they bring back Khan from China, and you're like, I don't know about this. And then they perform better than this org has ever looked.
And to be fair, when they were Incredible Miracle, they didn't have the star strategy, and they just looked bad. They were not good. Trying it the other way around, but they kind of balancing here smartly.
Yeah, then they got stars, and then looked bad, and now everything is great. So fantastic turnaround for Longzhu indeed.
Do you remember a team, I forget the name, where they had a player unretire, went into 80 carry, they built around Gorilla, and then they just wanted a top laner, and they just couldn't really find any stars, so they went with someone, they went with their gut. That player was Smeb. This player is Khan, and Khan, just like Smeb, is very quickly establishing a name that he never had before so fast into a season.
Smeb is going back to a name that he had prior in his career at the moment, so we'll see if he can get back on his feet, because it's rough times for him at the moment.
If you told me
that
this season Smeb had been playing under the ID Longzhu Khan, I would believe you. Think of the champions he's been playing.
So who's been playing under the ID of Smeb?
Khan.
They just traded?
Yeah.
Aw, don't throw him under the bus like that.
Well, I mean, I would have. You wanted me to say an NA player or something that didn't shoot Gilius?
No. I was going to actually just aim for a Korean player.
Who's Smeb looked like? Oh, it's not going to be a compliment. No.
I know.
I have to think about this one.
Oh, dear.
My mother said, when you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything.
Say anything at all. Yeah.
Well, Ixu's charges.
Everyone's mother has said that at some point.
That's true. Not everyone observes that one, but sometimes it's best for broadcast. Or worse, depending on what you're looking for. This game has gone pretty comically one-sided very quickly. It's now 9,000 gold, closing in on 10,000 gold lead for Longzhu. No one can respond to BDD in the side lane. Ixu probably wouldn't die. He's got a Gargo Stone Plate, but they turn onto the Baron, and you know a team's ahead when they can have Kha'Zix tank up the Baron and BK.
Yep. And BDD doesn't even have to be there to help protect
Double
the squad.
Mountain Drake.
Yeah, he just keeps things going. Double Mountain, as you say, helps shred to the Baron. Longzhu pick up their second. 35 minutes in the game. Well, that was...
Jumps in the air?
Yep.
That was a celebration jump, by the
Hooray!
way. Hooray!
We got the Baron. Good job, guys. Oh, man. When those used to happen when you're like actually trying to escape, and you just pop straight up on the blast cone.
I mean, you remember some of those Peanut Rengar plays last season.
Attack move is
the attack move with Q was great on Rengar. We don't get much Rengar anymore. 2 people have tried it and failed miserably. So I think the Were Kitty is back in the do not pick pile.
What about the werewolf? We haven't seen it.
We've never had a Warwick since the Weewick days, the 420 days. That was the last time we had Warwick. We had him for literally 2 weeks, Achilles. Well, I'm allowed to say it. I had a wheat tie for a long time.
I had it too. We all did. It made its rounds.
It did. We passed it around. Everyone got to enjoy it.
Now I just, I guess, like, sunflowers on my tie.
That's true. Now I have petals, I think?
Feels bad. Bring back the wheat tie.
I remember when we explained that to OGN. They were like, would anyone be offended about this? We're like, no, it's fine.
In fact, it's better. It's better for the viewer experience if we just have that. Oh, Khan is just steadily chipping away at this turret, and Ixu's HP pops him off the Scarl. How the
tables have turned.
Tables have turned indeed, so completely turning that matchup on its head. Inhibitor in mid lane goes down yet again. Longzhu just going to pinch down to the bottom side where Wave is getting ready to crash.
There's not a single team in the world that is trying to work out how Khan is this good. Because he was available, he was a free agent for a long time. Famously, LS had done some VOD reviews of him and said, this guy is good, look at him. No team would, and Longzhu, losing expression, needs someone. They ended up with Khan, and he's already shaping up to be a top 5 top laner.
Yeah. And BDD definitely making use of his time back in the LCK. Shooting his way up to the top. And I mean, we saw the BDD Faker matchup. It was excellent. Now we get to see the Scepted Faker matchup later on today. So it's a good time for mid laners.
No complaints. Good time for viewers as well. Looking for the tutorial victory here, Longzhu.
Sun comes out. Khan going to get locked up. Gets chunked out a little bit there, but still has that Gargoyle Stone Plate ready to go. BDD goes down to the bottom lane, just moving up the waves even further. As Longzhu looks to just take out this third and final inhib. Wave crashing, should be able to get it now. Charge going to come out from Ixu, gets knocked away immediately by the explosive cast. The Power comes through from Snowflower, trying to keep Kuzan alive. He'll be able to do so, and Teddy finishes off Gorilla in the back of the fight. BDD going golden with his Zonias, keeps himself safe. And this might have been the hold actually successfully completed by Jin Air.
Yeah, Longzhu Khan actually flashed in to hit Teddy away.
BDD, that was
14
insanely
health.
Dangerous and greedy of him to try to get the recall off. Almost goes down, and that would have been massive shutdown gold over to Teddy.
There was a lot of respect shown to Killers because Khan flash cast away Teddy so he wouldn't be able to do damage in the fight and thought, okay, we just kill a frontliner, have Kha'Zix kill somebody, and then we just win the fight from sheer numbers. Take down the front line around Teddy rather than actually be able to dive Teddy, because that's actually pretty difficult for Longzhu to pull off, but they weren't able to do that. The turnaround was good, and okay, it doesn't bring Jin Air back into the game. Longzhu are going to have to reassess with their next engagement.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to respect anybody on Jin Air, it's got to be Teddy, especially at this point. 4-2 and 2. All the kills, for the most part, just going to be poured in onto that Caitlyn. So
got a lot of gold as well.
He's pretty scary. Yeah, he's got a static shiv as well.
He's 900 gold behind his opponent when his team is 6 turrets down and also 2 barons down, which lets you know that he himself has been doing his job.
Yeah, keep it up as best as he possibly can. Interesting that we don't see the Hurricane and instead do get that static shift from him.
I think people are just prepping for 7-11. The big story, I think, to discuss, or one of the stories to discuss, is that these players, of course, when they play solo queue, are going to be playing on 7-11. So when it comes to the tail end of patches, we do often see you sometimes see champions that haven't been buffed or reworked yet getting played because people are playing them anyway. And so because it's so late, there's not really any upside to Teddy to go for old builds, and he's just keeping his eye in for what will be almost certainly the new Caitlyn build 7-11 onwards.
I wish we got some Galio before the rework came in. That would have been nice, but unfortunately...
We did. It was in Kesper Cup.
Yeah, just that game there from Kesper Cup and from Faker, so... It did happen, but not in LCK.
Well, Longzhu are trying to engineer this with the minions in so they don't even have to try and 5v5 fight against Jin Air.
Yeah, Wave crashing now in mid. Bot lane going to be a bit further behind as they start trying to poke out. Ixu going in for the charge. Will latch in onto Cuz, but BDD is there to gatekeep. Throws out the tether. Won't quite get the lockdown on the Unti, but still chunks him out to about half.
Not sure what Ixu saw there, but that is the charge down now. The movement speed could have been important to help Teddy get auto attacks in. Has no summoners, does Teddy, so going to have to be very, very defensive.
The Banshee Veil proc from BDD, so it's going to be a bit more vulnerable with this LeBlanc as the waves start crashing in. They try to get in onto the turrets, can't quite find it. Body slam, cast comes through, devours there from Snowflower to keep Kuzan alive. Now Cataclysm comes down, Gorilla going low as they try to stay alive. Teddy comes up with the first kill. That's going to be Umti going down. Longzhu trying to kite back, but finishing off at the same time is Ixu. Double kill over to Kuz.
2 for 2 though, overall, so it's a 3v3. Prey is low, they're respecting Jin Air.
They want to overstay on this one. Prey firing away, has the volley ready to go. Almost finishes off Snowflower, can't quite get him. Kuzan is still alive. Doesn't have the ultimate, however, so Prey is not that concerned. Now 3 super creeps into the mid lane, flashes forward, straight into Teddy's face, finishes him off with a volley, tanking up the turret, not even concerned. Will be able to kill that in time. Kuzan almost goes down again, spat out into the fountain, will stay alive, but that's going to be the Nexus going down. A bit longer from what you might have anticipated, but 41 minutes on the clock. Longzhu looking strong in game number 1.
And while it wasn't quite a capper on his 300th game and his 299th LCK game, Prey gives us a vintage Prey moment. It always seems to be on the Ash, flashing in, knew no summoners were up, onto Teddy. Finally took him down. Heroic defenses from Jin Air, who were going competitive in team fights. 12, 15,000 gold behind. Longzhu closed it out. Longzhu on base. Play again. Better and better than we would have expected. This time, on a tank top laner, Khan is still just as effective as some of his heroics on Fiora last time we saw him. And Longzhu are the real deal in a way that, like we said a couple of times, no one could have predicted.
Yeah, this is looking like a squad that very well could make a deep run through the playoffs, potentially find themselves at Worlds again. I mean, this would be the first year in a while that we didn't have Praying Gorilla there, if that would have happened.
But it's sad that we have to hope for it, Achilles, but let's just hope all the off-field drama exits Longzhu Gaming. I hope they just get a full split to continue to develop Ceteris Paribus, because what they've shown is top tier.
Yeah, really good stuff from them. We'll see how Jin Air bounces back. They start off the game very strongly. Especially with his pathing, was getting them ahead.
They were all even for a very long time with Longzhu before the one fight around Drake changed the game.
Yeah, some hiccups at the end there for Longzhu, not closing out as cleanly or as quickly as they could have, but they played it measured, they played it safe, and they pick up that win. Now going to be looking for the 2-0 finish, but Jin Air on the other side of things, putting their heads together. Maybe we'll see a swap, maybe Soan comes out into the top lane, perhaps for game number 2, as they try to elongate this series. Well, we're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we will have game number 2, see if Jin Air can put a win on the board, or if it will just be a dominating performance from Longzhu.